Alright guys, Alpha Heavy Gamer back with another video, and I keep seeing this come up, so I'm just gonna jump right in here. So I keep seeing this question: is the Su-27 better than the F-15? Or statements like the Su-27 is better than the F-15. So I'm like, come on man.
That's blasphemy.
Of course the F-15 is better than the Su-27. Need receipts. So the F-15 has a unvarnished record of 104 kills and 0 losses. The Su-27 has something like 8 and 4, from what I saw in the research. And those are numbers from Ethiopia versus Eritrea in that fight, and some numbers from the current conflict ongoing in Eastern Europe right now. All right, so obviously I'm kind of joking a little bit, before my Russian mains set the comment section on fire. Su-27 is a beautiful airplane. I can't wait to fly that thing in game. But I think the better question we should be asking is, how will Gaijin implement the F-15 and the Su-27? And this is assuming they both come together, because the F-16 and the Mig-29 came together. I'm expecting a package deal with these planes. In fact, I'm demanding a package deal. F-15 and Su-27 need to come together. All right, so going back to the implementation, because this is going to be really important. What mechanics Gaijin chooses to model, it's going to matter quite a bit. Both aircraft are very good, and some of the arguments over which is better, I think, are just oversimplified. But if you haven't been following this whole thing, let me fill you in real quick. So the player base is a little bit split on the F-15A not being good enough to face initial production Su-27s. So if you're using the NATO reporting name, it's like the Flanker B, and I think it's the Su-27S for the initial production versions. Don't let the S, confuse you. It's the initial production version. But the issue is the F-15A still carries Sparrows, and that's the meat of it, really. I mean, people really don't like those Sparrows, and they want to get right into that AMRAAM versus R-77 fight. So, yeah, I mean, I don't like the Sparrows either. Even the US Air Force came to the conclusion that they needed to, dump the Sparrow because it just wasn't cutting it, and get those AMRAAMs in there really quick. And because the R-27ER endgame is a better missile than the AIM-7M Sparrow, would-be Eagle drivers are starting to get a little bit nervous. And it's not unwarranted. There is reason to be nervous, and because of that, they want to jump right to the F-15C, which I don't agree with, but let's talk about the flanker first. So the Su-27 flanker can carry up to 10 infrared or semi-active radar homing missiles. It also carries the deadly high off-bore sight R-73 Archer, and it has a very nasty helmet-mounted queuing system to utilize that R-73 Archer to its full potential. The flanker also has an infrared search and track system to passively fire long-range R-27ETs, which is a very dangerous missile. The flanker also has a slightly better radar than the MiG-29. Su-27s also have some degree of super maneuverability. That's beyond the scope of this video, and I don't really want to get into that here, but if you've ever seen a Pugachev Cobra, it does look pretty cool. The bottom line is the Su-27 was designed to face Western superfighters like the F-14 and the F-15. So after I just said all that, you might be thinking, well, the Su-27 sounds better than me. And yes, on paper it sounds pretty good, but we're talking real life and video game life. So mind you, in real life, these aircraft have never met each other in combat and have never fought. So let's switch over to the F-15 real quick. So for the players worried about the F-15A, I say just relax. There's still the AIM-7P, which is a follow-on from the M, of course, and we haven't seen that missile in game yet. Gaijin could add that, at any time for the F-14B as well. The 7P added the ability for mid-course updates, kind of like the R-27ER currently features in game. There's also a lock-on after launch mode for the 7P, which is quite helpful. There's also another missile we haven't seen yet, which is the AIM-9M, a follow-on from the L. It has improved infrared countermeasures and a low smoke booster. Alright, so one of the disadvantages of the Eagle, it can only carry 8 missiles total, which, kind of puts it at a disadvantage against a foe that can carry 10. Also, the F-15A doesn't have an infrared search and track system, which puts it another disadvantage, but what it does have is one of the finest radars in the world, and that is the APG-63. This radar was the gold standard for radars when it came out, and it is extremely good. So even when you get within visual range, the APG-63 is still your friend. You have very good auto acquisition modes. You don't have a helmet mounted sight, and the AM-9M isn't really a high off broadside missile, but within visual range with the auto acquisition, you are in pretty good hands. And if Gaijin remains true to modeling all the mechanics, the F-15A also has something called flood mode with your AM-7 Sparrow missiles. With flood mode, you can launch that within visual range without a lock. The F-15 is well protected against missile threats with an integrated tactical electronic warfare system, which includes a jammer, countermeasures, and of course a radar warning receiver. It'd be nice if Gaijin implemented radar jamming mechanics when these two jets come. The F-15 of course is no slouch when it comes to raw flight performance and maneuverability. Its high speed and low speed handling characteristics are renowned. Of course, we're talking about a jet that was capable of maintaining controlled flight and still getting home no less with only one wing, and that was an Israeli F-15D. Alright, so just, rounding out the conversation here, like I said, how Gaijin chooses to implement each aircraft, this is going to be pretty critical for the game. I think they need to go in hard and model as many technological features as possible so we can actually experience the qualitative differences in each plane. The answer, in my opinion, is not to jump ahead to the F-15C because some people think the A model will struggle. Of course, there needs to be balance. Bias toward either side is just going to dumb down the experience when both of these jets come to the game, and it's just not going to be very fun. Hopefully Gaijin learned some lessons from the F-16 versus the Mig-29 experience and will adjust accordingly. They made some pretty good, changes, buffs, whatever you want to call them, to the Mig-29 because it wasn't performing like we thought it should. The F-16, on the other hand, that flight model is really hard to get used to, but I digress. Like I said before, the F-15A and the Su-27 never fought against each other in real life. We have that opportunity in War Thunder to play that out and to see what would happen. There's going to be plenty more follow-on variants of the F-15 and the Su-27 introduced later in the game, I'm sure of it. You're going to get your chance to have an F-15C. So let's just play with the initial production versions and just fight it out. I think it's going to be pretty fun. And if Gaijin needs to balance or adjust anything, I think they will. I think the fights are going to be interesting regardless, but I really would like to not skip ahead and just kind of play it out the way most people, I believe, want to see it happen. But enough of me rambling. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think the F-15A can't handle the Su-27 and we ought to call in the cavalry and bring in the F-15C right away? Or do you want to kind of like me see this whole thing play out from the beginning? Or do you not even care? You want to see a totally different airplane. You're waiting for the F-20 Tiger Shark maybe. All right. Guys, if you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. It helps me out a lot, and I will see you in a future video. Thanks for watching.